Tianqi hesitated, stretched out his hand to put Charlie's wrist. After a while, he put down his hand, turned his head and glared at Jovia, then yelled, "You are a three-legged cat, and you are still making an axe in front of Mr. Charlie. You still don't apologize to Mr. Charlie." Jovia shouted, "Grandpa, what did I say wrong?" Tianqi shook his head, sighed, and said, "Take a pulse yourself, Mr. Charlie has a heart attack." "You are mistaken." "What?" Jovia couldn't believe her ears. She had never made any mistakes in her diagnosis for more than 10 years, and the characteristics of heart disease were the easiest to see. How could she get it wrong? She walked in front of Charlie, stretched out her hand to catch his pulse, and was stunned, her face flushed suddenly. His heart is very good, with no heart disease. Did he deliberately pretend to have a heart attack just now to make her appear foolish? If he can do it and easily disguise the characteristics of a certain disease on his own surface, then his body's control of true qi should have been superb, right? If you say that, you can really be regarded as a man of God. Moreover, he saw the hidden illnesses of these people just now, and he didn't think about it. His medical skills are far above her. Don't say you can't compare, even if it is Grandpa, it is absolutely incomparable. However, he is still so young, how can he have such a strong strength? Jovia finally understood what Charlie meant by, almost mean. People still give her face, she doesn't, almost mean, but, much worse. Tianqi was also shocked. He saw that Charlie was controlling his internal breath, deliberately letting the true energy flow backward in his body, creating the illusion of heart disease, so his granddaughter was fooled. However, the reverse flow of true qi in the body can make people extremely painful. But Charlie can not only control the true qi flow in his body, but also retract and unwind freely, and his complexion is as usual, without any pain. This cultivation base is probably more than 50 years, at least more than 100 years of learning. Tianqi knew that he had met an expert in the hidden world. His granddaughter is still dying, constantly provoking him. Fortunately, Charlie is a gentleman. If she angers him, then he and his granddaughter will have to return to the West with only one move, and they will not even have the strength to fight back. So, he glared at Jovia, and said, "Mr. Charlie's cultivation level is extraordinary. You have taken a look at it by yourself and don't apologize." After finishing speaking, Tianqi quickly clasped his fists and arched his hands to Charlie. The old master has no way to discipline his granddaughter. Please, Master Wade, you must punish her well when you return. Jovia also recovered and understood that the other party's medical skills were several grades higher than her own, and had to be convinced. She bowed her head and said, "I admit that your medical skills are better than mine." Charlie smiled and waved his hand, and said, "Practicing medicine is to save the world and save people. There is nothing strong or not strong. If I encounter some intractable diseases that I haven't seen, I might have to ask Mr. Tianqi for more advice." This speech made Tianqi look ashamed, but he was even more admired. Obviously, the other party's medical skills are much higher than his own, but he deliberately gave himself a step down. This mind is definitely not owned by ordinary people. Moreover, his medical skills have reached a superb level, so much so that throughout China, there will be no second person to be found like him. Tianqi arched his hand to Charlie and said with a serious face, "I didn't expect that in my lifetime, I would meet a master like Mr. Wade, and I will ask Master Wade for advice in the future." Charlie held his hand and nodded slightly. Tianqi was surprised and quickly said, "Thank you, Mr. Wade." Seeing the conversation between the two, everyone in the room was shocked. He was already the #1 genius doctor in Orus Hill, so he condescended to ask Charlie for advice. Everyone in the room was shocked. The #1 genius doctor in Orus Hill is highly respected no matter where he goes, and the major hospitals also treat Tianqi as a guest. He actually looks like a pupil in front of Charlie and asks the master for advice. This is incredible. Jovia was also stunned, but she didn't dare to ask more. Charlie glanced at Tianqi and said, "Old Shi, I think you have an internal injury, so you let your granddaughter take care of the illness, right? You actually saw my grandpa's internal injury?" A look of surprise flashed across Jovia's face. However, she quickly regained her composure. With Charlie's medical skills, it can be seen that it is also normal. Jovia said, "My grandfather was in retreat and healed his wounds. This year, he did not treat others anymore. When Honor came to find him, my grandfather also declined. But 2 days ago, a friend of my grandfather sold him a magical medicine. I heard that magic medicine was obtained in Orus Hill. My grandfather wanted to come and have a look, so he stopped by to see Mr. Song as well." What magical medicine? Charlie was also surprised. There was even a magical medicine that made Tianqi fascinated, and he didn't know what rare treasure it was. Tianqi quickly took out a jade box from his arms, opened it cautiously, and said, "This magical medicine cost me 5 million, but it's absolutely worth it. I have taken half of it, and I am refining this half of the medicine. I am carrying it with me, Mr. Wade, please have a look." Seeing that this magic medicine turned Tianqi into a treasure, the crowd gathered around to see what the magic medicine was that fascinated the doctor. As soon as the jade box was opened, a smell of medicine suddenly popped out. Seeing half a black traditional medicine pill in the box, Tianqi took a jade knife, carefully cut off a large piece the size of a nail, and handed it to the middle-aged man in the Song family in honor to let them both try.